Hey, the title of the sermon today is The Path of Blessing. Um, do Swahili, how many of you speak Swahili? Swahili. How many of you speak Swahili? Well, understand Swahili? Okay, or not? Then I chose maybe not the right language then. Um, so, do Swahili speaking people like the word baraka? Right? It means blessing. And bo, which is Korean, which can be also translated as blessing, is one of the most loved words among Koreans. Like not nowadays so much about it, but when I was younger, and when I visit the house, and at least one place in the home, they have a letter bo. So they are looking for this blessing. And for the Christians, one of the most beloved words is a blessing. Is that true? Right? Because we like to be blessed and we like to bless other people. And those words can be translated as blessing, but the deep meaning can be different by culture. But one thing is common that the most culture desire to have it so much. Is there any culture that you do not have a desire to have blessing? So, in your culture, do you desire to have a blessing? Raise your hand. Alright. But some exceptions, but I think they were just raised to raise your hand. The Bible shows us several pathways to the blessing. Right? When you go to a certain place, and the navigation will give you directions, right? And at the same time, most of the time, the navigation will give you options. You can go this way, and if you choose this way, it will be 2 minutes later. Another way, like 5 minutes later, that's the traffic, right? And also the Bible shows us the pathway, the way to reach the blessing of heaven. The first one, even though it's not directly said, but in the context, the first one the Bible mentioned is the fruit from the tree of life, and also fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The one tree was accessible and the other tree was not accessible. But both trees, if they access the tree of life, if they don't access the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they're on the way, the path of blessing. That's the first one the Bible mentioned. The second one is the Sabbath. I hope you still remember February, two times I preached about keeping the Sabbath. And is there anyone still struggle to keep the Sabbath holy? Then I pray that may God give you strength and faith to keep it holy, so that you can be blessed, and through your life you can bless God and glorify God. But at the church, if you still remember my sermon, I preached about what we are supposed to do, like especially on the Sabbath afternoon. As Jesus have done, we should practice love to our community. But we haven't, as a church setting, we haven't developed any activities yet. But as this year goes by, I hope the Lighthouse of a church develop acting love activities to reach community and share the love of Jesus Christ. More like a practical love. And this is one of the highways to blessing from God. If keeping the Sabbath is not only a matter of time, but it's a matter of sanctification. And it brings a lot, countless blessings to your personal life. Excuse me. Not only, the blessing, spiritual blessing, but all other blessings. It's like a treasure, it's like a room, a house of blessing, keeping the Sabbath. The third paschal blessing is tithes and offerings. Excuse me. I don't know whether you have thought about that way or not, but that's what the Bible says. And we are going to deal with the tithe this morning. What is tithe? Okay, tithe is something that God called holy. Did you hear me? Okay, this is something that God called holy as He called the Sabbath day holy. So tithe is holy, like Leviticus 27 verse 30. Let's read it together. And all the tithes of the land, whether of the seed of the land or the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. What did it say? It is holy to the Lord. So tithe is something that God considered to be holy. Now holy means God separated, right? Holy means God separated it, and we have to separate it for the special purpose too. That's what holy means here. God separated the tithe as a holy one, and we also have to separate it as a holy one too. So God commanded His people to separate 1/10 of income and return it to Him to use it for His church. So let me talk about use of tithes. That after Israel entered the promised land, they allocated the land by tribe. However, there was one tribe that didn't receive land. What's the name of the tribe? I hope you know the answer. Levites, right? Why? Because they had to serve in the sanctuary, the tabernacle. So that's their job. They didn't have time to do any farming. So they had to stay in the temple of God and do the service for the temple. So that's why for the priests and Levites, for that purpose, they didn't receive any land. So that's why 11 tribes, they offer tithes to support the priests and the Levite ministry in the temple of God. That's the use of tithes in the Old Testament time. And today it is used for the same purpose. The quote from Seventh-day Adventist official guidelines, use of tithes, October 13, 1985. This afternoon, actually, I'm going to upload this file. This guidelines use of tithes on the Lighthouse Hope Church WhatsApp platform. I'm going to upload it so you can read the whole document about that. And quote, tithes should only be used for the support of personnel who are engaged in evangelistic and nurturing ministries. So that's why 100% of our tithes go to our local conference. So as a local church, we do not use a penny from tithes. Exactly 100% goes to the local conference. So it is our offering to God, not to man and not to church. And some people have a misconception about tithe, but not church here, but other place, and have desire to control it after returning to God. In some church settings it happens. But this is not the kind of fund that we contribute and have a right to control. But when you return tithes to God, you are returning tithes to God. It's an offering to God, and God owns it. We do not have any right to touch it or control it. Then, what does it mean to a tithe offerer? What does it mean to you when you offer tithes to the Lord? Number one, it's an act of acknowledge of God as our creator, owner, sustainer, and redeemer. Did you get it? So when you offer tithes, it's an act of acknowledge God as our creator, owner, sustainer, and redeemer. It's telling God that we are dependent on Him. Our lives dependent on Him, and we live today not because we worked hard, but because God sustains our lives. Amen? And Psalm 89:11 describes well about that. The heavens are yours, the earth also is yours, the world and all its fullness, you have founded them. Okay, number two, it is admitting that we are a carer of God's property. Okay, another word we use, stewardship. So we are not the owner of what we have, but we are carer for God's property. It's easy to say that the heaven and earth, that everything in heaven and earth belongs to God, right? Because they are not, it's easy. But how about, is it easy to say that dollars in our bank account belongs to God? Yeah? Yeah, when it gets more specific, it's harder, right? When say everything belongs to God, but and God say it's the exact amount of money in your bank account is God's. How many of you agree that? Okay, we should remember that we are temporarily take care of God's property as long as God allows us to have breathing. Okay, the death will take away everything we have. Is that true? I haven't died, but I know that death will take away everything we have. So life belongs to God, then everything belongs to Him. Isn't that simple? Right? Life belongs to God, and when life leaves us, everything leaves us. Nothing belongs to us. So Psalm 8 verse 6 says, you have made Him, it means us, the we, to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under His feet, to take care of. And this is a foundation of Christian economics. We teach different economics from school. So God is our master, and we take care of His property and following His will, not our will, but following His will. And the first thing God asks us to is to return. What? Return 10% of our portion to Him, to remember that we are not the master. So the things we have is God's property and given to us to take care of. And after God gave us certain portion, God wants us to return 10% to Him, and to remember that we are not the master of what we have. Number 3, it is an act of worship. When we return tithes to God, it's an act of worship, a joyful expression of praise, love, and gratitude. Is that what you feel when you return tithes to God? Yes, right? When you return tithes to God, we are so grateful, we love Him, and we express that praise and love when we offer tithes. So Deuteronomy 26, verse 10 and 11 says, and now behold, is a worshiper to say, and now behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land which you, O Lord, have given me. Then you shall set it before the Lord your God, and worship before the Lord your God. So you shall rejoice in every good thing which the Lord your God has given to you and your house, you and the Levite and strangers who is among you. So returning tithes and worshiping God, is to celebrate God's blessings. So it's a wonderful moment to celebrate when you return tithes to God because He has blessed us. So our tithe envelope should be sealed with love and gratitude. We're not putting money there, but we are putting our love and our gratitude because He has blessed us. Okay? Then what are tithing guidelines? Maybe it could be different denomination to denomination, but this is the official guidelines from Seventh-day Adventist Church. Tithe is 10% of personal income. Then you may have different understanding of personal income. So it says it is gross income before tax. And it should be sanctified before we spending anything else. Because God already sanctified it. God made it holy, so we also make it holy. And number 2, where to return. Okay? The tithe is the Lord's and should be brought to God's storehouse. Okay, where's God's storehouse? Up there? Where is it? In our Seventh-day Adventist setting, it is local conference treasury. That's God's storehouse in our church setting. So, do you know the name of our conference we belong to? Yeah, Mansaska, which is the shortened form of Manitoba Saskatchewan Conference. Mansaska Conference is the conference we belong to. That's our local conference. So for us, the Lighthouse of Church members, our storehouse, God's storehouse for tithes, is Mansaska Conference treasury. That's God's storehouse, and it should be given through the local church, which means for us is the Lighthouse of Hope Church. So in a nutshell, you offer tithes to the Lighthouse of Church. And the Lighthouse of Church treasury will transfer money to our local conference, Mansaska Conference. That's where to return. That's the Seventh-day Adventist Church setting. Okay, does God care about tithe? Does God really care about tithing? Yes, as a matter of fact, He's very, very serious about it. For those people who do not return tithes to Him, He said, Malachi chapter 3 verse 8, will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, in what way we robbed you? And God says, in tithes and offerings. You know, once I owed about $2,000 from CRA. Have you ever owed any money from CRA? They continued to raise until I cleared up. And I was afraid whether it continued to go to the amount of money that I couldn't handle. So I talked to them anyway, it was cleared up. I was not able to avoid it, right? So no Canadian is possible to rob CRA known tax. So if anyone knows the secret, please share with us, okay? But as far as I know, no Canadian is able to, if they know about the tax, then you are not able to avoid it. It's not possible. But God still says that we rob God. And if we don't return tithes. So according to the book of Malachi chapter 3, you heard about this sermon many times. Tithe is like a key. You know, key, right? Key to open something. And there are two rooms. There are two rooms which can be opened or locked by this key. Okay? And this key can be made with the tithes that we return. The two rooms. The first room is a room of God's blessing. Would you like to lock it? Would you like to open it? Okay, only 3 people like to open it. And God bless you, and the door may be open to you. Oh, now you say amen. Malachi chapter 3 verse 10. God says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse. Where is the storehouse? Manchester Conference Treasury is the storehouse here. That there may be food in my house. And try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Not only RBC Bank, if it's just RBC Bank and TD Bank, if they open their window and give us money, that will be already great, right? But God says, guys, opening the window of heaven and pour out blessings that we do not have space to, hold them anymore. Let me ask you a question. Who is the richest person in the world now? Well, whoever it is. And he or she tells you that you can access to his or her account anytime and withdraw any amount of money if you give him, her, your tithes. Would you do that? Yeah? Why not, right? So you just give your tithes a certain amount of money, then you can access his bank account anytime and withdraw any amount of money. Isn't that good? I'd like to have that offer. It sounds too good. But remember, the earth, I don't know whether you have a chance to watch in YouTube how small the earth is. Right? It starts from one region of, I don't remember the title, but it starts from let's say Winnipeg, and say Canada, America, and the earth, and the solar system. And little by little, the earth was disappearing in the universe. Eventually, we cannot find any trace of the earth because it's too small. And all the riches on earth cannot be seen in God's treasury. It is too small to count. It's too small. Not my bank account, but all the riches on earth. Even though we put them all together in the God's treasury, it's just too small to count. But not the richest man in the world, but the host of heaven, the King of the universe. He's offering the same option. If you return tithe, you can access to the room of my blessing. Isn't that something? We would not have to listen to the richest person in the world. Right? Then what stops us to offer tithes? As God says. This is the best plan for your kids' education. It's better to access God's storehouse than try to save just little money from your income for your children's education in the future. Do you believe that? This is the best way to reserve money for vacation. You set a certain amount of money because you want to vacation, summer vacation, right? Good to go to a good place and to. But this is the best way to prepare, your budget for summer vacation or for tithes to the Lord. Then we'll bless you more. And we, people my age, talk a lot about what? Retirement, right? Because I didn't really think about it before I came to Canada, but as I moved here, and many people my age talk about retirement and when to retire, how to prepare. It's so crazy. It's great because I do not know anything about that. I don't know how much I'm going to receive from government, from the church. I don't know anything about that. It's bad, right? I'm supposed to know. But it's the best way to secure my retirement. According to Malachi chapter 3. What's that? Return tithes to God. Return tithes to God. It doesn't mean that I don't do not be, do not get me wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't have to prepare anything what I'm mentioning, right? But you don't have to worry about those things. That's what I'm talking to you. When you are faithfully set upright your tithes and make it holy and return to God, you don't have to worry about those things. This is the best way to manage money. Do you have any money problem? Including me? The simple way to manage. You don't have to read, thick books and listen to lectures if you're really dummy in this area. Do just one thing. What's that? Return tithes to God. And this is the simplest way and the best way to manage the money. And this is the best known economic truth. Return tithes to God. And that's simple. And there's another rule. Can be accessed to another room. The same key. But this time you do not want to open it. This is the room which is for devourers. Devourers. What is devourers? Devourer is something like a greedy person. They can be anything cause you spend unnecessary money. Right? One Korean family moved to Winnipeg about 2-3 months ago, and they thought they could have like a free education for their kids. The reality was not. So they were in kind of a difficult situation. So their English is not good enough to talk to them to school division. So somehow I got to know about it, and I went to school division and talked to them. And miraculously, they accept them as a free student. Good, right? And if it didn't happen, they had to money, a lot of money. How much was it for one kids? Months about $1,000. So probably they had to go back to Korea if the problem wasn't solved. But they didn't expect the money to be spent, right? That could be devourer, right, for their life. So anything like accident, unpredictable disease, any kind of losing items, natural disaster, and like failing the class, you took the test, but you just somehow didn't properly read the problems, and you got just F, and you have to take the class again, and which you didn't expect. And anything that affects your health, excuse me, cause you to lose money and any damage. Things happen, right? A lot of things happen. And you're a farmer and you expect rain and no rain, everything dried and dead. And those are devourers. You didn't expect to spend money for that area, but suddenly happened, you have to spend like thousands of dollars. So this is an important key when you think about home economy. So I'm not good at math. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. But it's simple math, so I shouldn't be wrong. So imagine if you earn like $100,000 a year. Is it a good amount of money? Yeah. But something happened that you have to spend $150,000. So how much money is left? Huh? How much? Minus $50,000 are left. Okay, then do you think it's better to earn $50,000 and you spend only $40,000? And how much is left? $10,000. Which is better? You earn $100,000 and you have to spend $150,000. Is it better? Or you can earn $50,000 and you can spend only $40,000. The second case is better, right? So it's very important to lock this room of devourer. If you do not lock it, no matter how much money you earn, it's just $1 million a day. Wow, sounds so great. Like you earn like $1 million a day. But if you have spent $2 million a day, you know what I mean? So it's important how much you earn, but it's more important how can you protect it and increase it, not losing it. Devourer. You have to lock it. And God says, Malachi chapter 3 verse 11, and I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, so that he will not destroy the fruit of your ground, nor shall the vine fail to bear fruit for you in the field, says the Lord of hosts. So what is the key to lock the door of the room of devourer? All together loud. Tithes. That can lock the door so that the beast or the devourer can stay in the room, not to come to our life. So tithes are the key to lock the door of the room of devourers. So how many of you want to lock this room? Okay. Then I pray that God bless you who raised the hand and lock the door of devourers. You may not have any problem. So God is showing us the way to do it. All right, so many questions. So how many we want to return $100,000 tithes a month? Oh, it's interesting. You don't want to? Okay. How many we want to return $1 million tithes a month? But it won't happen if we fail to tithe $200 a month. Okay, we can do simple math again. A lot of math today. So if you earn $2,000 a month, and you think it's not enough money for your life, you do not pay tithes, and you spend all $2,000. So you have $2,000, right? But if you earn $5,000 a month, how much will be the tithe? $500, right? So after tithe, how much do you have? $4,500, right? So which do you prefer again? Do you want to have $2,000 without returning $200 tithes, and you have $2,000? Or you want to have like $5,000 and return tithes $500, and you have $4,500? Which one do you prefer? Second one, of course, right? When God knows you are faithful with $2,000. Did you hear me? When God knows you are faithful with $2,000, He knows that you are ready to handle $5,000. and $10,000 and $100,000 and $1 million. But when you cannot handle $2,000, God cannot bless you with $1,000. I mean $100,000, because it will be disaster for you. Instead of bringing happiness to you and good things to you, it will bring disaster to you if you do not know how to handle money. Have you heard about those stories? Those people who just got, lotto, right? And they just one day he became multi-millionaire, but within 2 years he killed himself. There are many stories like that. Because God needs to know whether you can handle, let's say, $2,000. And God knows, now my son, he's ready to handle $10,000. And when you're faithful now, now I think he can handle $100,000. God makes deal. It's very interesting part of the Bible. God makes deal with the human being. So I like to offer God's deal to you this morning as I finish my sermon. So we already read this verse, but let's read it again. Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. Let's read it together. Putting all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts. If I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing, that there will not be room enough to receive it. God said, try me now in this. In this what? Returning tithes. So if you have been a member of Lighthouse of a church a certain period of time, but if you haven't faithfully returned tithes to God, or if you haven't been returned to our local conference, Men's Conference, the Lighthouse of a church, now in the name of Jesus, I say, try 90 days. Let's say just 90 days. Return tithes to God with a true love and grateful heart. With a true heart of worshippers. Return tithes to God for how many days? 90 days. After 90 days, if you feel that it's a waste of money, I wasted money. I could buy a new dress and new shoes and new toys. Vacation. If you think that way, you can stop. You can stop. You can stop paying, offering tithes to God. God is making a deal with us for our sake, because God wants to bless us. Do you think God needs our money? Technically, it's not our money, but still, for our sake. Do you think God needs our money? No. He wants our hearts. Everything is His. He can just, less than a second, take the blessing back from us. Everything, literally everything. Technically, nothing belongs to us, but still God said, oh, okay, I give you 10. Just return 1 out of 10. You can keep it and use it and take care of it. I've been returning tithes to God over 25 years. I got baptized when I was 27 years old. But I cannot count all the blessings that I have received during 25 years. But for those people who have been a Christian for a longer time, I'm sure you have better testimony. God bless us so much. And I can confess that God has been more faithful to His promise than I have been faithful to Him. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And I'm not that much faithful to Him, but He is always faithful to His promise and keep His promise and bless us. I believe that God will not command us to do anything if it's not going to be bring good things to us. Do you believe that too? Did you hear? God will not command us to do anything if it's not going to bring good things to us. Right? When God commands us, it comes with what? Blessing. God commands us because He wants to bless us. I hope we understand that. And I pray that everyone will may be able to return at least $100,000 a month as your tithes. Amen. All right. God bless you. So let's read our scripture reading from the Message Bible, different version of the Bible. The next verse, please. Okay, Psalm 119, 33 to 35. Let's read it together. God, teach me lessons for living, so I can stay the course. Give me insight so I can do what you tell me. My whole life, one long obedient response. Guide me down the road of your commandments. I love traveling this freeway. So how many of you want to experience pouring out God's blessings on you? And how many of you want to experience of locking the room of devourer? And my last question, how many of you want to return tithes faithfully? So let's all stand up with the heart, the same heart. And we are going to sing the closing song.